Let's take a look at the golf swing of the number one collegiate player in 2024, Michael Thorbjornsen. This is one of the best golf swings that I've seen come out of college golf in quite some time. Michael has solidified himself as number one in PGA Tour Academy, which means that for the upcoming PGA Tour season, he will have status for the tour, which is super exciting. And let's talk a little bit about this golf swing and some things that I notice that anyone can learn from in order to improve their own game. Now, the first thing that I want to draw your attention to with this golf swing is kind of an idiosyncratic thing that a lot of people may not notice, but it's a little move that he does right before he begins his backswing. I'll replay it a bunch here so that you can see it. It's very slight, but you can kind of see his weight move over to that trail side of the body a little bit. It transfers slightly for the right-handed golfer onto his right side. You see that left leg slightly straighten up, maybe even a little bit of weight coming onto the heels. But this is a really interesting move that I actually think is very similar to what we see Rory McIlroy do, especially with the driver. It's just a quiet move to kind of begin the golf swing before you begin the golf swing. So this is what a lot of folks in golf instruction would refer to as a swing trigger. Everyone has a different swing trigger. Some people don't have any swing trigger. Some people re-grip the club, wag the club right behind the ball, do a hover, especially with driver. This is just what Thorbjornsen does, and I think that it's something a lot of people can learn from, especially if you're feeling tense over the ball. If you have tension in your arms, it's very difficult to make a good swing, and if you do, it's not very easy to make a good swing consistently with any tension in the body. So if you feel like this is something that sounds like someone with tension in the arms, you feel a little bit stiff over the ball, try a little bit of a waggle or a little bit of a weight shift like Thorbjornsen does here. It might help you a little bit. Now let's talk a little bit about this takeaway. This is a very, very athletic takeaway. I believe Thorbjornsen right now is averaging about 305, 310 carry with that driver. And with a takeaway like this, it's no surprise why. That left arm extension is wonderful. It creates a ton of width in this golf swing. The more width you have, the longer the swing, the more time you have to really hit the ball out there. So keeping that left arm very far away from the body really helps with low point control and getting that swing speed up. So pretty textbook stuff. A fairly flat wrist, maybe a slight bow, but really nothing too crazy on the wrist side in this golf swing. But Thorbjornsen is, from what coaches have said and a lot of people who have seen him play have said, is he's a generational talent when it comes to driving the golf ball. He hits it a mile, like I said earlier, but one thing that's very interesting is that he really doesn't play a predominant ball flight with the driver, which is kind of abnormal, especially for what we've seen recently. Some of the best drivers of the golf ball, some of the most accurate drivers of the golf ball, have a very consistent ball flight that they turn to. Rory McIlroy is known to hit that high draw when he really wants to get after one. Someone like Justin Thomas, Tiger Woods, Colin Morikawa, who have been pretty accurate, they tend to hit that fade. But with Thorbjornsen, he said in interviews that his ball flight is predominantly straight. And if anything, he may tend to hit a very slight draw, but he's also said that if he fades the ball a little bit, that's just fine as long as it's a very small baby fade. And if you're aiming up the middle of the fairway with driver in hand, whether you draw it slightly or fade it slightly, you're probably going to find the fairway either way. And if you hit the ball straight, then great, you're right up the gut. So I thought that was a kind of interesting aspect of Thorbjornsen's game, that he doesn't really turn to the flight. I'm sure if he wants to, he's a great shot shaper of the golf ball, but it's just an interesting aspect of anyone's game. And we can see in this golf swing that it's a pretty one-plane motion in that he takes the club back, and it's a little bit underplane at times, and that leads to that draw. But the only way that you can turn to a straight ball off the tee is if you have excellent mechanics, a pretty solid one-plane golf swing, and excellent control of the face, because hitting a straight ball with a driver is a very, very difficult task. But when you're a generational talent like Thorbjornsen is, you make it look easy, certainly. I think that this golf swing is a pretty wonderful example of what the modern athletic golf swing looks like. It's very balanced. You see on a lot of these drives how complete this backswing is, how high those hands get in the through swing, that follow through position. When he really gets after one, especially with the driver, it's almost like that club shaft is pointed directly at his target line, which takes incredible flexibility, and it reminds me a bit of Adam Scott. And any time that a golf swing has any comparison to Adam Scott, you know it's a pretty darn good golf swing. I personally am super excited to see what Michael Thorbjornsen can do in the world of professional golf. He is an excellent generational talent, and recently we've seen some of these great golfers come out of college and really see some success on the PGA Tour and in the majors. Ludwig Aberg is one of the best examples of that, so very excited to see what Thorbjornsen can do in the world of professional golf. If you have any questions or comments on anything that I mentioned in this video, any aspects of the golf swing that you want to get some clarity on, please leave those in the comment section down below. I read and reply to all comments on these videos. As always, I thank you all very much for watching. Play well and take care.